You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Right now at 9 o'clock, taking a live look outside. It is Monday, the Monday before Thanksgiving already, November 24th. Lots to get to this morning as we follow stories in your community and all across the Bay Area. Thanks for being with us today. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's a look at some of our news headlines. We are continuing to follow breaking news from BART. Another meltdown this morning. Right now, there is no green line service between Berryessa and Daly City, and no red line service at all. BART says this is because of an equipment problem. BART officials say all stations do have some service, but some riders will need to transfer. No word yet on when full service will resume. We're going to have more on that coming up in a couple of minutes. Meantime, some people in Sonoma County may have felt a pair of earthquakes this morning. According to the USGS, just after 7 a.m., a 4.1 magnitude quake hit near the geysers east of Cloverdale, and then about a minute later, a 2.8 hitting close to the same area. Those quakes were felt from Castle Springs Rock all the way to Bodega Bay. No injuries or damage, though, reported. And the man who was swept into the ocean in Monterey County is now it's a recovery mission trying to find him. Happened just after 3 on Saturday at Sobrantes Point, 9 miles south of Carmel on the Big Sur coastline. 2 women who were swept off the rocks were able to get out safely. This comes about a week after a man and his 7-year-old daughter drowned in the same area after being swept away by a wave. All right, let's get a check on our first alert forecast as we begin a new week. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, throughout the Bay Area today and tomorrow, things are pretty mild for us, just in time for that holiday travel. Thursday's forecast right around the corner for Thanksgiving is looking beautiful, but very similar to today with upper 50s and lower 60s widespread throughout the Bay. We're talking about upper 50s today in places like Pittsburgh, all the way up into Fairfield, upper 50s and mid 50s in sight for us all throughout the North Bay for the most part. It's a mild forecast for this Monday, but here's the good news. For the past 2 weeks, we've been dealing with rainy conditions on and off, whether it's an atmospheric river or just a cold front pushing through. But the case today and tomorrow and lasting into the rest of this week's forecast, well, we're drying up and we are staying nice and cool as we dive into this Thanksgiving holiday travel throughout the next couple days and then the big day on Thursday too. Now we're expecting low 60s for Thanksgiving holiday. For the most part, we're dealing with partly cloudy skies, but like I mentioned a second ago, at least it's dry for all of that holiday travel. Diving into this weekend, it looks very similar too. Low 60s in store for us throughout our inland spots. Notice how as we head all the way over into the Bay, we're also holding on tight to some low 60s too. It's a very mild forecast as we head into the next 7 days. We're going to keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center. But for now, I'm going to send it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Jess. Back to that BART mess. Still no green or red line service because of an equipment problem near the West Oakland BART station. Veronica Macias joining us live now from the MacArthur BART station in Oakland. I'm sure you're hearing another earful from passengers who are disrupted by this, Veronica.
Yeah, as you can see, a train came through right now. So you have this platform that is full with people. All train stations, they're operating, but there is limited service this morning. You have the red and the green line that are out this morning. So BART officials releasing an update within the last few minutes. Apparently, there's some sort of malfunctioning switch on the track over at the West Oakland station. And because of that, they're having to limit the trains. Now, earlier this morning, same situation, this platform packed with people. A lot of people really responding in a way that at this point, it seems like people have gone accustomed to the delays because of BART. A lot of people, though, telling me that this really creates a ripple effect, though. We met some students who were here early this morning. They are international students going on a trip for Thanksgiving for the first time over to San Diego. So they were on their way to SFO this morning, really afraid they were not going to make it. Take a listen.
We really have a flight to catch at 9 a.m. and we're worried we won't make it at this point. But yeah, I just hope security clears us out fast and we end up getting on that plane because we're just going on a vacation for like 4 days to San Diego and we're really excited for it and don't want to miss it.
So at this hour right now, we're really crossing their fingers, hoping they made it to that flight. You had other passengers, though, not so patient this morning. People stuck on a yellow line train near that West Oakland station where the problem is. So we know that ridership has increased for BART. They just reported that October of this year saw a 10% increase compared to last year. But of course, people repeatedly seeing issues like this. This seems to be a problem with the switch. Last week on Friday, we know there was that vandalism situation that caused both the yellow and the orange line to go down. So today's other lines being affected today, but all stations have service. You just have to be patient and wait for that transfer. Your best bet is going to be the BART app to look to see where you need to take that transfer, Ann.
All right, incredibly frustrating though, especially when there's a plane ticket involved. Veronica Macias live for us, and we are going to continue to cover this BART mess as we've gotten kind of used to. We're going to follow that as throughout the day here on our website and streaming on CBS News Bay Area. We are continuing to follow, meantime, the search and recovery efforts off Monterey Bay. That is where big waves swept a man and two women into the ocean on Saturday. The women made it back to shore, but the man is still missing. This happened in the same area where a 7-year-old girl and her father drowned last week. A private rescue diver who helped bring back the child's body says that visitors need to be more aware of how dangerous the water can be.
They don't know the area, they don't know how the ocean moves, and they don't anticipate those bigger waves.
Well, the women who made it out of the water Saturday were taken to the hospital. All TSA workers should be getting their back pay from the government shutdown by today. Spokesperson says about 90% of workers have already gotten that back pay. TSA workers missed several paychecks during the shutdown. Meanwhile, some TSA agents at several airports got a $10,000 bonus. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem says those who worked during the government shutdown went above and beyond. Well, Thanksgiving has consistently been one of the busiest times of travel every year. Millions of Americans are going to hit the roads or take to the skies this week to reunite with friends and family. AAA projecting nearly 82 million people will travel at least 50 miles from their home for Thanksgiving. About 6 million are expected to take a domestic flight. That all comes after air travel, of course, was hampered by the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. We spoke with some passengers at SFO who say things seem to be going smoothly so far.
I just came back from Abu Dhabi, and all my flights were on time in both directions, and there was 3 flights in all either way. Well, we had a little bit of a thing in the airport. They couldn't get the baggage door open on the airplane, and it took them a while to figure that out. We only left 30 minutes late.
Well, despite the government shutdown, AAA is predicting a 2% increase in domestic air travel this Thanksgiving holiday compared to last year. With Thanksgiving just a few days away, we are seeing our community step up to make sure that no family goes hungry. There are several food distributions going on today for any families who need help. Sacred Heart in San Jose kicking off its holiday food box giveaway today. Each box will have fresh produce, bread, and a turkey to go along with it. No appointments needed, and walk-ins are being accepted. Organizers recommend bringing a cart or something to load the food onto. Brisbane's YMCA Resource Center will also give out food for neighbors, and while it is just for Brisbane residents, the event is hosted at the Fernecky's building in South San Francisco. And Hunger at Home is going to give out Thanksgiving food at the San Jose Flea Market. Neighbors will be able to get a turkey and fresh pantry goods. While SNAP benefits are back to being fully funded, we are getting a closer look at what those benefits mean for people who rely on them to survive. We spent a day with 2 San Jose locals who say that every grocery trip is a calculation and every dollar and quarter counts. Both women, once homeless, are now sharing the daily work of stretching food benefits to survive.
No juices on sale. No. We plan a meal, 1 meal a week that is meat-based.
2 dinners for $3.64.
Inflation's going sky high, and we're not.
Can't stretch out a meal like you used to.
60-25.
You can watch the full story by Len Ramirez airing tonight at 5 right here on KPIX. And we'd love you to join us in helping your community. You can scan the QR code there on your screen to find out how you can donate or volunteer at our local food banks. You can also head to our website, kpix.com/give. And join us for our holiday special that is going to air Christmas night. You can see the inspiring stories behind the effort to feed families across the Bay Area and the impact that your donation has to keep food on the table for our neighbors. A new report found that nearly 3 in 10 Bay Area residents are having trouble covering basic needs. According to the nonprofit Tipping Point, more than 1.8 million struggle to make ends meet. That report also found that about half of those people are already working full time. But one small housing project in San Francisco is showing what could be possible when people have stability and support, from job training to health services. Our Lauren Toms introduces us to a man who credits the community for helping him kick his drug habit and find a path toward permanent success.
I had a really bad problem with drugs for a long time. I was mixing heroin, fentanyl, crystal meth, and cocaine together and shooting it. And like 20 times a day. It was like ridiculous.
For most of his life, Bryce Sterling had been stuck in a cycle of addiction and homelessness, a story playing out across the Bay Area every day. But here at San Francisco's tiny home community on 33 Goff, he says something finally changed.
I've been able to save up almost $2,000 since I've stopped using drugs. Through my doctor's office, I got one of the ladies there, I told them I wanted to go to work, and they all thought I was crazy. They're like, dude, you're not ready. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm there.
Bryce has lived here since May of last year, inside one of the 70 private cabins operated by Urban Alchemy. And he's not alone in his comeback. The group says 128 people who once lived here have now moved on to permanent housing, a number Supervisor Matt Dorsey, who oversees much of SOMA in the Tenderloin, calls a success.
I think this is something that we need to look at as a cost-effective solution. It may not be the cheapest solution, but it's certainly not the most expensive. And if it's true, and it seems to be so far, that this is something that is really doing what we want supportive housing to be doing, helping people get up on their own feet and find success elsewhere, that's great. That's exactly what we should be doing as a city.
It cost about $32,000 per cabin annually to run the community. That cost more than a congregate shelter, but far less than building a new permanent structure. Dorsey says that makes it a smart stopgap in a city desperate for housing options. 33 Goff is one of several tiny home communities on leased land that would otherwise sit empty as developers wait on permits and financing. And because the cabins are modular, the entire village can be picked up and rebuilt somewhere else, carrying its community with it.
At any given time in San Francisco, there are projects that we're just waiting for the financing to pencil out so that the thing can get going. Until then, we've got land that's usable, that's convenient, that we could be using for a good purpose. And certainly when we're seeing the success that 33 Goff has offered, that's a good use of that land.
Success for Bryce looks like joining the 128 former residents who now have a place to call home.
As soon as that comes through, my life will be pretty much perfect.
And for the first time in his life, he says he can see that future.
Now, the San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing said in a statement that 33 Goff and 2 other sites, quote, play an important role in contributing to the diversity of the city's shelter interventions. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, he's in the headlines despite not playing a game this season. Why Niners receiver Brandon Ayuk might not be on the team much longer. Plus, while Cal lost the famous axe to Stanford, Cal's coach is receiving an axe as well. Why UC Berkeley is saying goodbye after 9 years.
Well, it's a beautiful Thanksgiving holiday week with very mild weather in store for us each day just ahead of that holiday travel and the big day on Thursday. Now, daytime highs all throughout our inland spots. They're either in the upper 50s or the lower 60s as we head into the next couple days. We're also holding on tight to some cloudy skies too, but at least it's dry. Each day as we head into this week's forecast, we are looking at partly cloudy conditions in the morning hours, clearing up a little bit more into the afternoons. Low 60s and upper 50s also in the forecast for us, for our friends along the bay, diving into this weekend's forecast.
Well, the ski season is officially here. Check out that video right now from Heavenly Ski Resort in Lake Tahoe. The resort says the recent snowfall has allowed them to kick off the season after warm weather delayed its planned debut on Friday. Manager of Communications, Cole Zimmerman, explains what you can expect on the slopes.
We're kind of opening with an early season footprint, which is about, what we do usually at this point of the season. So we'll have a gun barrel in the tram to get you up the mountain, and then we'll have skiing off of Patsy's and Powder Bowl lifts to start the season. And then we'll be assessing conditions throughout the next couple of weeks here, making snow whenever we can and expanding terrain whenever possible.
Ski season at Heavenly Resort typically lasts from mid-November to mid-April. Well, for some, Thanksgiving week is also more about football than anything, and the 49ers are hosting the Panthers tonight on Monday Night Football. As Andrea Nakano reports, the game, though, is not the only thing on the team's mind this week.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers were in the headlines this week for a player that's currently not playing. The Athletic reported Friday that the team and wide receiver Brandon Ayuk were headed towards a split after the 49ers voided about $27 million in contract guarantees for next season back in July. This comes after Ayuk signed a 4-year, $120 million extension in August of 2024 following a lengthy contract negotiation. The voiding of the deal will likely lead to the receiver being released after the season. The former first-round pick has not played since last October when he tore multiple ligaments in his knee. Kyle Shanahan says he has been left in the dark on if a return to the field is possible.
Not getting much dialogue just personally between him and I, and have been told that it's week to week. So each week I wait to see if he's ready to come back for practice, and haven't got that answer yet. Coached in over 20 years, and I've never been in a situation where a contract's been voided, so it was extremely unusual to me.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Andrea Nakano.
And the head coach of Cal's football team is now out of a job. Justin Wilcox led the team for 9 seasons, but he was fired after Cal lost to Stanford in the big game. That was on Saturday. Stanford crushed Cal 31-10. Not only did the Golden Bears lose the game, but they also lost the Axe Trophy, which is awarded every year to the winner. Wilcox had a 48-55 record. He had not had a winning season since 2019. Ouch. Cal's football's general manager, Ron Rivera, released a statement thanking Wilcox for his time. He also said in part, quote, "We believe that time has come for new leadership. We wish Justin the best of luck in his future endeavors." Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, Little Caesars Pizza getting a cold reception in a Bay Area community. Why it's set to open, even though the city says it shouldn't even be there.
It's an error. The city of Sebastopol has taken ownership and admitted we made an error. The consumer now will decide whether they like it or not with their pocketbook.
Anywhere from Half Moon Bay all the way up past the Golden Gate Bridge into places like Stinson Beach and all the way up in Bodega Bay. This is what we're monitoring closely as we head outside. Rip currents and sneaker waves are definitely possible. Keep the dogs on a leash if you are heading out to the water, and stay away from the water as we head into the afternoon hours. Of course, you will notice those choppy conditions, but some of those things like sneaker waves, they're not visible necessarily. So we're going to monitor that closely. Other than that, most of us live in our inland spots anyways. We're talking about upper 50s and lower 60s today throughout all the Bay Area. This is the time of year where our daytime highs are all hand in hand. Now, the good news is, we just talked about it a second ago, for the past couple weeks, we've been dealing with rainy conditions on and off, whether it was an atmospheric river or cold front sweeping through the Bay Area. Today, tomorrow, this whole week, not the case at all. We're seeing dry conditions as we head into this Thanksgiving holiday forecast, which is just amazing news for us, especially when it comes to holiday travel. Now, the roads are going to be dry. The airlines, they're going to, well, hopefully work smoothly. Of course, there's not going to be any weather delays, at least here in the Bay Area. As we head into Wednesday and Thursday, we hold on tight to low 60s throughout the Bay, with upper 50s returning as we head into this weekend all the way into Saturday. Now, you make your way over into our inland spots. Notice how there's really no big change. We're in the upper 50s and lower 60s for the rest of the week for our inland spots too. Beautiful but cool weather, and yeah, a little bit below average.
Well, there is a big divide in Sonoma County right now over a Little Caesars Pizza. Some neighbors say they don't want chain restaurants in their town. And as Dahlin reports, even city officials admit it shouldn't be there.
Business owner Francesca Malera-Balak loves Sebastopol for its small shops, local flavors, and a downtown that doesn't look like anywhere else. That's why this surprised her.
Disappointing that big mistake like this will go through.
The city admits it accidentally approved a Little Caesars in the downtown core, even though chain stores have been banned there since 2018. And for Francesca, who owns Attical, a consignment furniture store, this isn't about pizza. It's about what Sebastopol stands for.
Something like that, I don't know. It doesn't add to the charm of the place, and it will bring away maybe business from somebody who is, who maybe has a higher quality of ingredients.
City leaders say they discovered the mistake only after Little Caesars had already begun building out the space, and by then they couldn't legally stop the project.
It's an error. The city of Sebastopol has taken ownership and admitted we made an error, an administrative error, an approval, but Little Caesars, I guess, took that approval and ran with it and started making improvements. And so they had a vested interest by the time we realized our error, and we had to let them move forward.
But not everyone sees it as a problem. Some younger residents told us they're glad to have a cheap, quick option.
For me specifically, I do like it because I'm a big fan of it.
They believe competition is healthy, and for them, price matters.
I mainly just like it because it's cheap. It's not really like the best food, but it's cheap enough for me.
Councilwoman Nisa Hinton says at this point, it's up to the customers.
The consumer now will decide whether they like it or not with their pocketbook. I point out we don't have a Burger King and we don't have a McDonald's in Sebastopol. They both went out of business.
What do I think about Little Caesars? I don't think it's necessarily a part of our community here in Sebastopol. There's a lot better pizza to be had in Sebastopol, so that's where I'll be going.
Steve DeCoste runs the only pizza restaurant in the downtown core. He's not thrilled, but he's not losing sleep over it either.
We're just building a resilient community, one pizza at a time, and so it won't impact us because of the quality of what we do, and we're really supported by our community and they understand this.
As for Francesca, she says what matters now is making sure the next application doesn't slip through the cracks.
Original as possible so that people come into town and they see new stores that are unique.
The city says it's added safeguards to make sure this kind of mistake doesn't happen again. As for Little Caesars, it plans to open its doors to the public sometime in the coming week.
Well, the city established a ban on certain types of formula businesses, as they call them, in 2018, preventing businesses with 25 or more locations in the U.S. to open downtown. Well, if you are craving a donut from Bob's in San Francisco, you're going to have to take a little trek down the block because its new original location shut down now after 70 years. So they moved about a block away, the donut shop on Polk Street in Nob Hill. The old one gave away free crumb donuts on Saturday as a thank you to the neighborhood. We heard from some customers who said it's never going to be the same.
It's an end of an era, there's such a patina in the walls and whatnot. And I've been to the new location, and although it's nice, it just doesn't really quite have, the character. But it's a new era in San Francisco, so it is what it is.
Luckily for those customers, again, new location just down the street. It's been open for business actually since February. Coming up in our next half hour on CBS News Bay Area, it could provide desperately needed housing for people living in RVs. How one city is turning to private landlords for help. Plus, President Trump unveiling a 28-point plan to end Russia's war in Ukraine, why it's drawing pushback amongst Ukrainians.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Monday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at some of our news headlines right now. We are continuing to follow breaking news from BART. Another meltdown this morning. Right now, no Green Line service between Berryessa and Daly City, and no Red Line service at all. BART says this is because of an equipment problem. BART officials say all stations do have some service, but riders will need to transfer in many cases. No word yet on when full service will resume. The search for a man who was swept into the ocean in Monterey County is now a recovery mission. Happened just after 3 Saturday afternoon at Sobrantes Point, just south of Carmel on the Big Sur coastline. 2 2 women who were swept off the rocks were able to get out safely. This comes just a week after a man and his 7-year-old daughter drowned in the same area after being swept away by a wave. And police are investigating a homicide at a home in San Francisco. They were originally called to that home for a burglary, and they found one person there with severe injuries. This is on Granada Avenue. First responders tried to revive that person, but pronounced them dead at the scene. So far, no arrests, and police are asking anyone with any information to come forward. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast. A lot of people traveling for the holidays these days. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, throughout the Bay Area today and tomorrow, things are pretty mild for us, just in time for that holiday travel. Thursday's forecast right around the corner for Thanksgiving is looking beautiful, but very similar to today with upper 50s and lower 60s widespread throughout the Bay. We're talking about upper 50s today in places like Pittsburgh, all the way up into Fairfield, upper 50s and mid 50s in sight for us all throughout the North Bay for the most part. It's a mild forecast for this Monday, but here's the good news. For the past 2 weeks, we've been dealing with rainy conditions on and off, whether it's an atmospheric river or just a cold front pushing through. But the case today and tomorrow and lasting into the rest of this week's forecast, well, we're drying up and we are staying nice and cool as we dive into this Thanksgiving holiday travel throughout the next couple days and then the big day on Thursday too. Now we're expecting low 60s for Thanksgiving holiday. For the most part, we're dealing with partly cloudy skies, but like I mentioned a second ago, at least it's dry for all of that holiday travel. Diving into this weekend, it looks very similar too. Low 60s in store for us throughout our inland spots. Notice how as we head all the way over into the Bay, we're also holding on tight to some low 60s too. It's a very mild forecast as we head into the next 7 days. We're going to keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center. But for now, I'm going to send it back over to you.
Well, about 3 weeks ago, San Francisco started enforcing its ban on long-term RV parking on city streets. That new rule faced a lot of pushback because the city doesn't have enough shelter beds to house everybody who is now living in RVs. So homeless rights advocates and other groups said the city did not make it easy enough for these people to get a permit in order to avoid being towed while they tried to find a permanent address. This map shows where San Francisco's homeless were living as of September. The green dots mark where the vehicles and RVs were parked, just under 500 in all. Now, San Francisco is launching a pilot program to try to create more permanent housing by turning to private landlords. Da Lin spoke with one man living in an RV who says that he's going to take whatever help he can get.
The first of this month, I got my permit, and it's good for 6 months. Caseworkers have been assigned to us. My caseworker's been out here a couple of times.
Alan has lived in his RV on John Muir Drive for about 10 months.
Refrigerator and freezer. I got a queen-size bed in the back. Air conditioning. I have heating throughout the entire place.
Even though he's made this temporary space feel comfortable, he says what he really wants, it's a permanent home.
I can't afford to live in the city without help. Well, the city has agreed to help, so I'll be able to save a little money. Maybe be able to find something else elsewhere. I am not capable of working, doing manual labor. I've had 3 strokes and 4 TIAs.
The 69-year-old, a reformed convict, relies on his monthly $1,200 SSI check. He welcomes any program that can help people get off the street and into stable housing.
A single room, an SRO, like a hotel or a single apartment, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Mayor Daniel Laurie on Friday introduced the $450,000 pilot program funded by private donations. It will pay 1 month's rent to property owners who reserve vacant units for qualified RV dwellers like Alan. The nonprofit Catholic Charities will coordinate the program and match landlords with participants.
If we get more people involved with advocacy, if we get more residents speaking up for the unhoused rather than calling them in as a nuisance, I think we can turn the tides and try to help. Good morning.
Erica Wang and other homeless advocates spent Saturday passing out flyers and talking with RV dwellers to make sure they know their rights. She says there still isn't enough affordable housing to meet the need.
We've had RV parks in the past, but those have been shut down by the city. Why can't we have more RV parks? Why can't we provide more access points for people to get the support and the supplies that they need to take care of themselves so that it's less of an issue in the neighborhoods?
The city admits the need is far greater than the available supply, which is why they say they're trying out different solutions. But city officials also say tents on sidewalks and RVs sitting in the same spot for months aren't sustainable. The 6-month parking permits are designed to give RV dwellers a pathway into permanent housing. Anyone without a permit can be towed if they stay parked longer than 2 hours. Allen says he's feeling more optimistic after seeing others recently find housing.
A few days ago, they found places for 2 people, and they've moved over to Park Merced. I see positive things.
The city hasn't given a timeline as to how long it'll take to house the RV dwellers, but the goal is to move them into permanent homes before their parking permits expire.
According to San Francisco's 2024 point-in-time count, around 1,500 people in the city are living in their vehicles. Over the weekend, Elon Musk's X rolled out a new feature meant to increase transparency on the social media site, but it's also unleashed a wave of questions, answers, and surprise. Users started sharing screenshots to show that a number of prominent accounts claiming to be American supporters of the president turned out to be based in places like Russia, Nigeria, and India, among others. But the one that got the most attention was this, a post appearing to show the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's official X account was based in Israel. Officials responded quickly, saying post with screen grabs and recordings showing the account based in Tel Aviv is misinformation. The department responded, saying, I can't believe we have to say this, but this account has only ever been run and operated from the United States. Screenshots are easy to forge. Videos are easy to manipulate. The information on the DHS account does, in fact, say that it's based in the U.S. Well, after all this started happening, X turned off the new feature, saying they're still working out a few, quote, rough edges, followed by this post by X's head of product simply saying, I need a drink. U.S. and Ukrainian officials say that they made some important progress over the weekend in talks to end the war with Russia. President Trump is pushing for his 28-point plan to end the war. But that includes some concessions Ukraine is not yet willing to accept, like ceding land to Russia. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky calls it a critical moment after a weekend of negotiations with the U.S. on steps to end Russia's war on his country.
It is crucial to support the principles on which Europe stands, that borders cannot be changed by force, that war criminals must not escape justice, and that the aggressor must pay fully for the war he started.
In comments Monday, Zelensky indicated territory remains a sticking point. The U.S. and Ukraine say they're working to update the administration's original draft 28-point peace plan. That proposal called for Ukraine to give up territory, cap the size of its military, and swear off NATO membership. Critics say it included many of Moscow's longstanding demands.
It is essentially the wish list of the Russians.
CBS News has learned the White House is discussing plans to possibly bring Ukraine's president to the U.S. this week. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will be privately meeting with President Trump today after reporting progress in those weekend talks.
We're working through making some changes, some adjustments, in the hopes of furthering narrowing the differences and getting closer to something that both Ukraine and obviously the United States are very comfortable with.
A joint statement released by the administration following the U.S.-Ukrainian meeting said they reaffirmed any future agreement must fully uphold Ukraine's sovereignty. As fighting continues, Russia's military released video claiming to show the capture of 3 new Ukrainian villages along the Eastern Front.
And CBS News has learned that President Trump spoke with Chinese President Xi Jinping Monday morning about the latest developments with Russia and Ukraine, as well as a variety of other issues. Well, food insecurity is a big concern for a lot of people in our communities. 30% of Californians surveyed say that their household is cutting back on food to save money. That's according to a statewide survey conducted by the Public Policy Institute of California. And about 1 in 4 worry about the cost of housing. Nearly 38% of African Americans say they worry about housing costs almost every day. 30% of Latinos, 20% of whites, and 19% of Asian Americans have similar concerns. We are in the final shopping days for the Thanksgiving feast on Thursday. And according to Wells Fargo, there is some relief in the cost for this year's meal. Their new study says the price of everything from turkeys and dinner rolls to stuffing is down this year. That is, if you stick to store brands instead of name brands. The one exception, though, is whipped cream, which is apparently up about 3% compared to 1 year ago. Overall, the average cost to feed 10 people this Thanksgiving would be about $80 if you buy store brand products. With national brands, you could pay as much as $15 more, and some big retailers like Walmart have Thanksgiving offerings, which bundle everything together as a way to reduce prices and make shopping a little easier too, hopefully. Coming up next, people who live in Fremont battling right now over a piece of parkland, why one man says it's his private property, and why the city says otherwise.
Well, it's a beautiful Thanksgiving holiday week with very mild weather in store for us each day just ahead of that holiday travel and the big day on Thursday. Now, daytime highs all throughout our inland spots. They're either in the upper 50s or the lower 60s as we head into the next couple days. We're also holding on tight to some cloudy skies too, but at least it's dry. Each day as we head into this week's forecast, we are looking at partly cloudy conditions in the morning hours, clearing up a little bit more into the afternoons. Low 60s and upper 50s also in the forecast for us, for our friends along the bay, diving into this weekend's forecast.
Well, on the edge of Fremont, some hikers and cyclists say the road they frequently take is now blocked off by a gate with a no trespassing sign. It's all part of a long battle over 1,000 feet of Morrison Canyon Road near Vargas Plateau Regional Park. The rancher who put up the gate claims that the area is private property, but the city of Fremont says it's public land. Our Suji Nam breaks it all down.
Paul Perkins has been biking along Morrison Canyon Road in Fremont for more than 2 decades.
Bought my house on Morrison Canyon because of this road.
But for the past few weeks, Perkins says the green electrical gate with no trespassing signs was put up earlier this month by Christopher George, a rancher who lives at the end of Morrison Canyon Road.
I've never seen any problems up here. I'm up here all the time. My fitness app says I've ridden up here 1,000 times.
The gate is posted about 1,000 feet from George's private property. We interviewed George back in 2016 when he filed a lawsuit against the East Bay Regional Park District. Back then, he was trying to block the opening of Vargas Plateau Regional Park nearby, alleging there were traffic and parking problems. George did not want to talk to us about the new gate, but we obtained a copy of a letter his attorney sent to the city of Fremont. In it, he alleges there are no records showing the county or city has ever asserted control over the roadway. The letter complains that the public is, quote, frequently trespassing across it and staging their harassment of Mr. George by photographing and recording his otherwise quiet use and enjoyment of the property. And true enough, the county has relinquished its control over the final 1,000 feet of Morrison Canyon Road that extends beyond this gate and up to his property line. But the city of Fremont is saying, hold on. In a letter back to George, it says, quote, undisputed record demonstrates that the roadway, including the terminus in question, became part of the city's roadway system 70 years ago when the city incorporated. Mr. George has illegally constructed an unpermitted gate. In fact, we saw the city's enforcement code team place this nuisance abatement order on George's gate.
The dividing line goes somewhere down the middle here. So there should be about 25 feet on one side in the county and 25 feet in the city of Fremont. And so that's where some of the debate is coming over, is where exactly is that line?
Jason Bezos, attorney with the Citizens to Protect Morrison Canyon Trail, claims what George is doing is illegal and frustrating for many neighbors, including Monica Melville, who have been hiking down this trail for 20 years.
Mobility impaired people parking at the parking lot and then having family members, using the wheelchair to have them enjoy nature. And almost half of it is taken away.
For his part, Perkins says he just wants access to all of the public spaces along Morrison Canyon Road.
This is a beautiful park up here at Vargas Plateau, and it would be a wonderful connection into the Sunol
area, so the Sonol Water Temple. There's a very clear path along the hill line. They could easily put in a trail.
For now, this final stretch of disputed roadway remains closed to the public.
And Georgia's attorney responded saying they are aware of the city's nuisance abatement notice and they're going to be appealing that order. Coming up, a Fremont ranch got an unexpected visitor from a not-so-little creature, where some big animals go when no one wants them. Well, around the holiday season, some people give animals as gifts, but between 6 to 8 million dogs and cats are abandoned every year in the U.S. All sorts of other animals are given up as well. A Fremont ranch got an unexpected visitor recently. A llama was abandoned on the ranch with nowhere to go. Our Brian Hackney has more on the work that our local shelters are doing to protect unwanted pets.
Heading up into the East Bay Hills from Mission Boulevard, Chris gets ready to start another day.
We're up in the Mission Fremont Hills. We're about 10 miles east of downtown Fremont.
He's on the ranch that's been in the family for years.
Yeah, it's our family property. Yeah, our dad picked it up at a foreclosure auction in the 70s.
A lot of critters roam these hills.
We have coyotes, bobcats, raccoons, the occasional mountain lion, and then there's an alpaca that somebody just dropped off one day. Just showed up.
Yep. Incredibly, this guy was just dumped on the ranch.
Sometimes they're surrendered to us because people just can't handle it.
It's a story the Marin Humane Society's all too familiar with. So where are we headed?
We're going to go to the barn.
Lisa Block is director of marketing.
We have a barn and a paddock, and we don't usually get a lot of barnyard animals, but on occasion we do.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Bibi. Oh, he's beautiful.
Lisa's got a theory about why someone would pick up large farm animals in the first place. Because they sure look cute on Snapchat.
We see a baby llama, we think, oh, I want that. Wouldn't that be fun? And the next thing you know, you have a very large llama that you don't know how to care for, or a rooster that maybe you're not even allowed to have.
We've got 3 alpaca ourselves, actually, but we let them roam and do their thing. You're okay, buddy. Go to your brothers.
If they're very lucky.
That's a happy piggy.
Unwanted animals end up with this guy.
Yeah, Matt Robin, Rancho Robin Rescues. We're a farm animal sanctuary. We take care of approximately 250 farm animals that have been abandoned, neglected, abused, and we give them a forever home. All right, come and get it.
Sometimes they're simply surrendered as being too much to handle.
But oftentimes it's somebody who just kind of drives it in the middle of the mountains and lets it go, which we've had many an animal show up here that way. Yeah, get it, get it. Oh, you dropped it.
It's often because someone has not done their homework before they acquired that animal.
It might explain why an alpaca was abandoned in the hills of Fremont. But that's just piling one bad decision on top of another.
We always try to remind people that if you're overwhelmed, there is help. You can always call your local animal shelter. If they can't take in the animal, they can refer you to rescue.
For you and for you.
And there are a lot of farm sanctuaries and barnyard rescues now, which are fantastic.
Good boy.
Including the one run by Matt.
Oh, is that yummy?
Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Please keep your alpaca to yourself.
We know they look cute on Instagram, and everybody wants their own TikTok channel with their baby llamas and emus and things like that. Baby emus are very cute, but it's just not fair to the animals. So we hope people will just reach out for advice first. On cue.
Llamas typically live for about 20 years. So if you're thinking of getting one, make sure to plan for it. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.